So there exists this really brain-dead movement that originated in South Korea. It's known as the 4B movement. If you are lucky enough to never have heard about this stupidity, it's basically a bunch of women choosing not to get married, choosing not to be intimate with anyone, choosing not to date anyone, and all of that. Which means people choose not to have children. This is stupid because Mother Nature has created us specifically so that we can spread our amazing genetics and our amazing legacy. And if too many people choose to engage in whatever this is, there is a risk we might be the last generation on Earth and not have any coming generations, which would cause humanity to go extinct. But if I had to mention any redeeming quality with this movement, I would probably mention my belief that this might be natural selection, telling us that perhaps not everyone is privileged enough to experience the wonders of creating life. And if those people actively choose to forfeit in the race known as life, then those people are only making it easier for those who are actually passionate about leaving the greatest impact on Earth, and who thus deserve to have as many children as possible, myself included. But I thought this movement would be confined within the borders of South Korea and possibly North Korea. But to our dismay, this movement is now starting to plague the Western world. So basically, there exists those women that hate Donald Trump, and they are salty because Donald Trump won this year's elections and became president. And I believe Donald Trump is pro-life, which means if you get pregnant, you must keep the baby. Which also means it is not a good idea to sleep around with as many guys as possible, especially if you don't want children. But those girls are salty and they want to keep sleeping around. So they recently hatched this nefarious plot of revenge. I'm kidding, it's not nefarious, it's just moronic. Basically, those girls decided to adopt that South Korean movement because they believe going an extended period of time without sex is some certified torture method. And so they are like, if I can't have sex, no one will. I will refuse to give sex to anyone who wants it, especially Trump supporters, until eventually they will start begging for sex. And that's when they will realize how horrible Trump is for being pro-life. I apologize if you lost half of your brain cells during the last 10 seconds. Because here's the thing, those Trump supporters will never start begging for sex. Because newsflash, abstaining from sex is not considered a torture method for them. It is only considered a torture method for those girls. Because those girls throughout their life have always been so privileged that all they ever have to do to lose their virginity is say yes to a guy. But for a lot of people, abstaining from sex is not torture. It's seriously normal life. And so in those girls' minds, they are causing some mayhem to everyone around them. But in reality, no one really cares. We are the ones who will have children, and those girls make it easier for us, aka the men and women who actually understand the value in creating life. And so this is autistic behavior 101, because people with autism and Asperger's generally have difficulty with this thing known as theory of mind. Seriously, look up what theory of mind means. But basically, people with Asperger's assume everyone else thinks like them, and they have a difficulty understanding that everyone thinks in a different way. They have difficulty realizing that just because they like something does not mean everyone else does, and just because they dislike something does not mean everyone else does. And this is what we are clearly seeing with those girls. They assume that just because they think abstaining from sex is torture, it means everyone else thinks the same way. But that's not the reality. Which either means all of those girls have Asperger's, or it reinforces that bold claim I made like 2 weeks ago or something, that Asperger's is not a real condition, but rather something everyone has more or less. This is why I do not believe in neurotypicals. I believe everyone is autistic to some degree. It's just that some people are more autistic, others are less. But I do not believe in that black and white mindset that this person is autistic, this person is not. Also, those girls are shaving their heads in order to become some monks. And the jokes write themselves at this point.
Feel spicy? Because I do. Alright. I don't know how to use this thing.
2 steps ahead.
Yeah, but anyways, this is a really stupid movement, because those girls only end up hurting themselves, when they could instead, trying to get into an actually meaningful relationship, because abstaining from sex is not the solution. The solution is to find the right person and then have sex. But if those girls choose to do whatever they're doing, then I have to thank them for eliminating themselves from the competition and making it easier for us, because we now have less competitors. But that's pretty much all I had to say. Let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree, or have something completely different to say.